What would you say your biggest influences growing up, and in terms of both music that you listen to and the music that you sort of emulate now?
I kind of listen to a lot of music. I guess growing up, one of the biggest ones. I mean, I was always a Johnny Cash fan.
Mm-hmm.
I've really his later stuff in the American recording days. You know, when he was older. Another big influence of mine is Blue October.
Okay.
Justin Furstenfeld, just lyrically, the guy that he tells stories and he tells about his pain and his happiness and everything in a way that you fully understand and you can feel it too.
Mm-hmm.
And I was always attracted to that kind of storytelling. It's really like that's what got me into music was the idea like, okay, there's this guy's singing about something I wasn't aware I was even allowed to talk about. And so that's kind of where I started getting into writing my own material and stuff, so he was definitely a big influence. And then now I think I listen to Kaleo,
Mm-hmm.
They're just kick-ass rock and roll. Mm-hmm. And then Amigo the Devil is this new genre of music called murder folk. It's this darker kind of folk rock vibe, and I love that. And so I kind of bounced around a lot, and I've just kind of found a place in like this roots rock, kind of like Sean James, White Buffalo kind of era. Mm-hmm. And there's just some rich storytelling, and it sounds good. It's got blues, it's got funk, it's got folk, it's got all kinds of different things. The genre's not really important in that. It's just the story. And
I was definitely hearing a lot of that really timeless Americana stuff like John Fogerty and that kind of thing.
I do like John Fogerty.
Especially on that song. I definitely heard that sort of John Fogerty thing going on.
I do a cover of Bad Moon Rising, but I call it Bad Man Rising, and I make it minor chords and slow it down and kind of change the lyrics a little bit so it sounds like it's a slasher film. It's like for a Halloween special I do. It's
wow.
Great.
I mean, you could play that one for us maybe. It's kind of interesting. You do it?
I could play that song.
So how long have you been at this? It sounds like, with 3 full-length albums and a couple side projects and all this background, it feels like a while. It feels like you've been doing this a while.
Yeah, the 2 that are out now, Wicked Road and The Righteous Path, they're kind of all of the same story. It's a 3-part kind of concept album, if you will, concept albums, if you will. It's called A Story Man's Journey, and The Wicked Road is kind of the start of that, where it's like more of a descension into madness. You kind of thought life was one way, and then everything comes crashing down because we've all kind of been through those different things. And so that's where that one's at. And it's just about saying, all right, well, if no one else is following the rules and this is what's happening to me, I'm going to break some rules and I'm going to try this other side of life out for a little while. And The Righteous Path is like, okay, that wasn't good. That was not for me. That's hurting my soul kind of thing. And it's like you start to recognize that maybe you're in need of grace. And that's one of the songs in there is called Grace.
Yeah, I know that one.
And so that one's kind of circling back towards like, okay, let's get back on our feet. There's a lot of elements of atonement in there.
It's kind of like a prodigal son
kind of like the balance of that was dark and the light.
It's interesting that you seem to approach music albums the way maybe an author would, like if Stephen King was writing a series of books, he would write in you kind of approach it like that. It's like this one through line of work.
Yeah, that's exactly it, because it's about a lot of parts of my life. Sure, it's music, we're going to exaggerate some things and whatever, but it is just a story of different things that I've been through and where I'm at now and where I was at when I wrote those. And I have a background in writing. That's like what I originally went to school for. And so that totally makes sense that I'd get that comparison.
Do you often, since you have these your songs are very storytelling oriented, as you were just saying, do you start with that approach? You start with like the story you want to tell or some prose even, and then reverse engineer a song, or do you still just like kind of write some chords and melody and then get the words in?
It depends on the song, really. Like I've done it both ways. I've had this idea where it's like, man, this is what I want to write about, and I have this song I'm writing now where it's like, this is the essence of what I want the song to be as far as material and lyrics, but I have no idea what like chord structure to put to it or whatever, and
That's interesting.
I've still been kind of working on that. That's harder to do than just having a melody and just singing. Sometimes I'll just make up a phrase that doesn't.
Sure, we all do.
I wrote a song about a quesadilla one time,
sure,
and that turned into a real song. But it was like, I was hungry at the time, and I had this riff, and I liked it, and so it started there.
Scrambled egg.
Yeah,
yesterday. How I love your
right.
Tony was like right on.
The Beatles.
We're all music historians around here.
I think "Walking on the Moon" was originally "Walking Around the Room."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, even in the Beatles, the recent documentary, The Fantastic Get Back, there's like I can't remember exactly what's going on, but George is struggling with lyrics, I believe, and someone just like, and John's just like, yeah, well, just say something. That's just what I do, and like, and yeah, just basically saying that, just sing whatever, and words will kind of form, or meaningful words will kind of shape into those from the vowel sounds and things you're doing, you'll probably get to something. So I guess, the point is that if it's good enough for John, Paul, George, and Ringo. By the way, did you guys know Ringo's coming here in like 5 days hence? 5 days, Ringo and his all-star band. I still haven't bought tickets. If you're interested, Tony, I still would. Wouldn't that be fun?
I don't know if I'd want to see Ringo there. I'd like to see Paul.
No. Oh, of course. I've seen Paul a couple times.
Yeah.
The no, I don't smoke it no more. That's a great one. Or Photograph. Yeah. Or, most of those songs, well, not most of them, but a lot of the earlier ones in those early canon were co-written by John.
Mm-hmm.
They're basically another John Lennon song. A lot of them are. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think I might still go see that Ringo. Look up the Ringo Starr and his all-star band coming to town. Actually, speaking of classic rock, I don't like putting people on. I mean, I'm a musician too. I don't always want to be put on the spot. But you teased that John Fogerty thing. Maybe just give us a little. Can you maybe just give it a taste of what Bad Moon Rising might sound like in this motif?
Yeah, I definitely can. I gotta.
Oh, you got to tune. Yeah, now I even feel worse for it.
No, it's all right. It's just been a long drive, and I'm sure my guitar's mad at me. So.
Yeah. It actually sounded really great the first song.
All right, yeah, I can do that for you.
This is what Bad Moon Rising would sound like, slower minor chords.
Yeah, it was about a...
Bad Man
about
Rising.
A slasher film.
I love that. I love watching
I love horror movies.
Me too.
Like my whole, like Devin Sands, Let's Get Spooky. That's like the whole...
Let's get spooky.
Now, so. All right. I see a bad man coming. I see trouble on the way. I see flashes of lightning. Looks like the storm is here to stay. Find a place to hide. Stay out of sight. There's a bad man out tonight. There's a bad man out tonight. I hear the thunder rumble. Feels like the end is coming soon. There's someone lurking in the window. I'm not sure what he's about to do. So find a place to hide and stay out of sight. There's a bad man out tonight. There's a bad man out tonight. I hope you have asked your God for mercy. I hope you are quite prepared to die. Looks like he's standing in the doorway. Don't breathe and stay out of sight. We'll find a place to hide. Stay out of the moonlight. There's a bad man out tonight. There's a bad man out tonight.
Wow, that's not even a cover. I don't know what that is. That's a real bizarre thing.
Yeah, it's like a tribute almost.
It's an original
a rearrangement.
Yeah, it's a
That's
rearrangement.
exactly
It would be probably legally a derivative work. You could know what it's coming from lyrically and even chordally, even though the chords are changed. although it's significantly departed from the predecessor, and all the lyrics are different. Well, not all the lyrics, but
There's a lot. I used
90%.
as much as I could, but I wanted to tell a different story.
Yeah.
That's what an interesting approach. You should do an album of those.
Because
do all of that.
Because he needs
Yeah.
another project.
No, you don't need another project, but I think that's just fantastic, and I would steal the idea, but it's too daunting for me. You should totally do it.
No, that's. I've been doing this thing on Sundays because I've just been bored. But it's called Soundcheck Sunday, and I just pick an older song and I'll put my twist on it and kind of make it unique. And it's just like a little YouTube short. It's not very long, but I'll just kind of attack something new.
You do this live?
No, I should do it live.
Oh, yeah.
I started just as a YouTube short. I was like, oh, this is a cool arrangement. So I recorded it, sent it to a friend, and he's like, hey, I can't open this. It's too big a file. So I was like, oh, I'll just upload it to YouTube
Oh,
for
I
you.
see.
And that's how it started. And now I'm doing it every week for like the past 2 months.
Yeah. Well, once you get started into these weekly things, they tend to stick.